What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in to another edition of MVP Games Live right here on either twitch.tv or youtube.com. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey.
Soapy, I already know the answer to this, but I have to, I'm contractually obligated to ask you each and every show, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Soapy's like, I'm
not
doing all right.
feeling the best.
Some days it's like that. Soapy not feeling that great because you're like, oh man, I wish I could get an Xbox. I wish I could. Wish I could have that
that's
Series
totally
X.
a reason. Totally not that I've been throwing up or anything.
Yeah, Soapy's like, I just said on the pre-show that I was going to wait. But happy launch date, all you Xbox fans out there. Series X and Series X or Series X and Series S.
I was going to say.
They're the same. Those are
you're going to exclude the Series S?
I did not.
They don't count anymore?
Even in the tweet, I used both hashtags, the X and the S. So it's the launch day for both of them. Happy Xbox Day for you guys out there. PlayStation, we have to wait until Thursday, obviously. But we got a jam-packed show today talking about a lot VR, PlayStation news, maybe some AEW, some wrestling game news that we'll have to see later in the show. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. Before we get into everything, though, quick housekeeping number one. If you have not already, you need to join the best community on the internet. That is our Discord channel. Link is down below on YouTube or exclamation Discord. I almost said exclamation Twitch again. Exclamation Discord into Twitch chat. Get you the link in order to join the best community on the internet. And guess what, guys? It's free. So go ahead and do that right now. If you do want to support us, though, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you go ahead and do that. You can also support us by going to Twitch and subbing. Before I move on, though, thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. We are live on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment as well. And Soapy, like I said, a glorious day for Xbox fans and Xbox users where it is the Xbox launch day for the Series X, the long-awaited day that we've been waiting for. And Soapy, Xbox Live went down today. So from the Polygon article, so that I get all the information out there, the Xbox Series X and Series S launched today. And, well, a general outage on Xbox Live this afternoon left many with the new console unable to play its games. Microsoft's support team acknowledged the outage beginning at 1:01 p.m. Eastern Time and said they were looking into it. With users unable to log into Xbox Live, some users are finding the console can't verify their ownership of a game and let them get into it. The Washington Post's Gene Park reported he can't start Assassin's Creed Valhalla, for example. Soapy, your thoughts on it wouldn't be a launch day for either console if something didn't go wrong, right?
Yep. I thought this was going to become a conversation of how bad Xbox fuck up, and I'd be like, no. It happens every year.
No, it happens every year. Like, Here's the thing with this that I wanted to bring up, and this is my little snippet. And first off, an update to the article said Microsoft, just before 3 p.m. Eastern, said it thinks it solves the problem, which that is very reassuring to me. It's like, well, I think we solved it. That wordage, I hope, is just an article thing and not an Xbox thing. Users should be able to log into Xbox Live across all platforms, but if you can't, let them know. The thing that and this is not just an Xbox thing, this is a PlayStation thing as well. You know what really annoys me about this generation of gaming, and really, it's not even the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 era. It's even like the PS4 and the Xbox One era, is why have we linked single-player games to being online? Because that's something that's already frustrated me beyond no end, to where it's like half the time, if let's say my internet's out, PS services are down, it's like, well, I can't fucking use my system. I can't play what I want to play because it's even locked me out of single-player games, because now, even if it's a single-player game, it's connected to the internet and uses the internet in some way.
I mean, it's shitty, but it's just kind of the way everything's going now.
Is that the soapy version of sucks to suck?
Yeah, basically.
I don't know.
I was gonna make fun of the fact that PlayStation, or at least for the PS3, you guys got hacked every like 2 weeks. So I'd be like, man, you guys are used to not being able to play your online games.
Yeah, we did. It's just like, that's one thing that I like. I feel like you should be able to play a single player game even if Xbox Live is down, even if your internet is down. So like, that's something that I don't know. Xbox Live, even if you're down, you should be able to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla because it's a single player game. You're not even playing it online. But Soapy, the main first topic that we're going into, and this was one, this conversation always intrigues me because I like the concept of what VR gaming is. My question is always, though, will VR gaming either ever be fully embraced, or will we ever get to a point where VR gaming is like the norm for gaming? And this comes from an article from Video Game Chronicle, and it says, a prominent PlayStation exec has suggested that full PSVR support could come to PS5 in the future. At launch, the PSVR headset operates as backwards compatible device on PS5, and launch window games No Man's Sky and Hitman 3 will only support VR via its PS4 versions. PS5's new camera paraphernalia won't work with PS5 or PSVR either, and users will need to request a free adapter in order to connect it. However, speaking in a new interview with AV Watch, PlayStation's head of platform planning suggested that the PSVR headset could yet be used for a full PS5 VR experiences. The exact quote is, for those consumers that purchase the PSVR and own a PS5, the idea of not being able to connect a piece of software is ludicrous, and we are thinking there is a merit in PS5's performance boost too. Soapy, the thing that I want to bring up with this is not just the PlayStation side. I want to bring up VR in general. Do you think there will ever be a time, and will it be soon or later, where either VR is fully embraced in gaming, or if VR will ever become like the norm for gaming? Instead of like playing on our PS4 looking at a screen, we're putting on our VR headsets and we're basically Ready Player One.
I don't think we'll ever get to that point. And it's just because it's one of those things that like you kind of exclude a lot of people, especially people who have like motion sickness when they use VR.
Good point.
I think we'll get to it some point when like more people will do it. It's more or less, I just don't see it for a while, and it's mostly because VR technology is still in its infancy. Like, obviously, you know, the Virtual Boy was a thing, but that thing was a fucking mess.
No, that thing was just like a fucking, like, when we talk about toys, that to me looked like an actual toy and felt like an actual toy.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you love the color red, man, that's your fucking console. That's all you're seeing. You're just seeing red and black. That's all you're seeing.
Side question, though. What's a better accessory, the Virtual Boy or the Power Glove?
Definitely Power Glove.
Power Glove all the way, baby. But, like, the thing that I, like, and the Ready Player One was me making a joke. I don't think we're ever going to get to that sense. It's kind of like back in, like, the 90s and shit.
You don't want to live in those fucking weird trailer things they live in?
No, I don't.
You don't.
Being on fucking treadmills?
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's the fucking treadmills, there's the fucking places that they actually live, where they live in fucking trailers stacked on top of each other. You don't want to fucking live in one of the, you don't want to live in the stacks?
No, don't want to live in the stacks. But shit, where was I even going? Oh, it almost like reminds me of like me as a kid back in the 90s. We would always joke around of like, oh man, in 2020 and that, we're going to have flying cars and shit, because that's what we'd see on TV. And it's like, that's almost the same here, where I feel like VR now, there's a part of me that wants to say there's a how do I put this? There's a price gap to it, or there's a kind of like a line drawn to where it's like, if you make under this, or if you can't basically buy it, because it's like buying your own system, that it's like you can't be VR. Like, it's a select group of people that can go into VR. And also, you mentioned motion sickness. There's also a thing of like, how many people have in their house dedicated space to where it's like, okay, I can do VR here and not knock shit off the walls, or not knock into my living room table or something like that, to where as gamers and everything, we haven't thought about that yet. It's all like, oh, well, I just sit here, I can have all this clutter all around me, and it doesn't fucking matter. To where VR, though, does intrigue me to the sense of like, is VR going to be the next step, or is VR always going to be that thing we talk about where you say, oh, it's in its infancy? I feel like we were saying that like 5-10 years ago even, where it was like, oh, VR looks cool. Oh, well, it's in its infancy. Like, will we ever get to a point where we're saying, oh, VR is not in its infancy? And yet again, there is a difference between the VR that like you put the headset on and can see everything, and then like the VR that we're seeing on phones, where it's like that augmented reality of like, oh, I can put my camera out and boom, I can make like a whale jumping out of the gymnasium that I'm recording.
Yeah. And obviously, I think just the reason why we still have that mentality of like, oh, it's in its infancy, is because in the grand scheme of things, it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird to hear like, oh, like 10 years later, like, oh, infancy, and it's like, at the same time, it's not that crazy to think, just because fact that it's...
But will it ever get out? Like, when do you think it'll ever get out of that infancy? I mean, we don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
Yeah. I would say, if I had to shoot a random guess, I would probably say in 10 years.
Okay.
And it's mostly just because with where technology is going right now, if we keep at the same pace,
yeah,
I'd be disappointed if we don't have working VR.
Yeah, I mean,
in 10 years.
To go along with the PlayStation side, because that's what the article was mentioning, I hope that at least like the bare minimum for this next gen is that VR that we can get. Like, if it's a bare minimum of, I can at least put the like headset on, and like basically instead of using the sticks to move my camera and stuff, you're actually just moving your head. Like, it brings me back to it was an ESPN 2K game for football. It was the one with Warren Sapp on the cover. It was just like, I think his face on the cover and the helmet. I remember that game. What year did that fucking game come out? So I can give it time. I think it was early 2000s. Warren Sapp 2K. Let's see. He was on the cover of... Oh, it's just ESPN... Oh, okay. 2K4. So, what, 2003? 2004 is when that would have came out. And I remember that game because it was the first time in a game, and especially a football game, where they had a mode where it put you into the face mask. Where, was it an absolute train wreck? For me, it was. Because not only did you have to deal with everything you did, like, Soapy, imagine playing Madden like you do now. But you also, with your sticks, had to control turning your head so that you could see everything. It wasn't like a drop-down camera to where you could see the DB. It's like, oh, if I don't turn my head, I don't see him because there's a blind spot. Cool concept? Yeah. Did it work? No. To where I wonder if, my bare minimum is that, and yes, I know there might be people in the comments that say, well, in this game, that game, it's already possible to do something like this. But how many people are actually doing it? Like, I would want VR to be something to where it's accessibility to me is, I think, the big barrier with VR is we got to make it more accessible if we want it to be something that we can use in gaming. And I would love for the PS to make it accessible to where it's like, hey, I'm playing The Last of Us, I'm playing Assassin's Creed, but instead of using my sticks on the controller to move my camera, I'm actually turning my head in the headset. And I'm not looking at a screen, I'm looking in the headset, and I feel like I'm in that world. That's the bare minimum of what I would want with this next-gen Xbox Series X and PS5.
I mean, that's a damn shame that Xbox ain't ever doing VR.
Has Xbox ever... what, the Kinect is the only, like...
That's the closest.
That's the closest they've done to VR. Yeah, I mean, what, that's a camera?
Yeah.
Didn't that have something with, like, Just Dance or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Dance, there was Kinect Sports. The fucking Xbox One X's fucking Kinect was creepy as fuck when they announced it.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you remember what they fucking said it could do.
No, I don't.
By just looking at you, it could tell your heart rate. I'm like, okay, that's a little fucking creepy. I don't know why it needs to know that.
I mean, now we've got fucking, like, watches that can do that now. Just by being attached to you, they can tell you your fucking heart rate.
But see, the whole thing is, though, like, that's at least attached to me. Like, it feels like how much my fucking blood's pumping.
Yeah.
The Kinect looks at me, it can barely fucking recognize my face.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, its stupid fucking self can read my goddamn heart rate from across the room.
Yeah. No, and I mean, yeah, VR to me has always been one of those... It's always been one of those things where I've always been intrigued in VR. I've been intrigued what we could get in the VR quality, but, like, you put it perfectly. I feel like every single time I talk to somebody about VR, it's always the same thing. Oh, it's in its infancy. Oh, we're going to make strides here and there. And, like, there are good VR games. Like, Beat Saber is one that I think is phenomenal. Like, if I had Oculus, I'd love to play Beat Saber. If I had the fucking PSVR, because I don't even have that, Beat Saber looks like a good one. Or Super Hot, which is the one where it's like, you walk into a room, you got to shoot guys, and it's like, okay, based on how you move, you got to, like, shoot them and stop the bullets. There are good VR games out there. It's just, when is the keyword of accessibility going to be able to where most people can get their hands on it and not feel like, well, you know, there's a money thing and there's a, like, accessibility at home thing, to where it's like, that's why I wanted to bring this up and why I wanted to have this conversation. Any final thoughts for you, Soapy, about VR, what you think about it? Anything about that?
I hope at some point it becomes, like, easily readable to everyone. Or, like, readily available, but I don't think it will reach that point for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I don't expect it not within my lifetime, because I think it'll happen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But, like, later in it, to where it's like the technology becomes more refined.
Yeah, and it's like, it blows my mind, technology, what we see across the technological sphere, that it's like, eventually I feel like VR gaming will be something.
Emergency room gaming, baby. ER.
That could be your number one fucking VR game. You get to be the surgeon. I remember.
Guess what? I already got Surgeon Simulator. So
what was the game I used to fucking play on the DS? There was a DS game that was like that, where you, like, took the stylus and made the cuts and stuff. Fuck, I totally forgot what that game was. Me and my friend Sean would play it all the time. But Soapy, the next PS thing we're going into is comments made about Sony about cross-gen. And this comes from Video Game Chronicle as well. It says, continuing to cater to PS4's massive install base means Sony is unlikely to start unlocking PS5's true potential for several years, a key PlayStation executive has suggested. In an interview with AV Watch, the same thing I referenced from the VR thing, it's the same person from PlayStation, the head of platform planning, discussed the balancing act involved in developing next-gen experiences without leaving behind over 110 million PS4 users. As VGC said in its PS5 launch review, the most exciting aspect of the console's storage tech is not the impact it will have on load times, but how it could potentially shape the way in which games are made. Instead of hiding environments behind scenery or lengthy corridors designed to mask load times, PS5 developers will be able to create far more expansive environments without fear of memory issues, Sony has claimed. However, the Sony head of program planning, had to look up what his title was again, suggests we're unlikely to see this promise widely realized in the immediate future. In fact, it may not be, and this is an exact quote, in fact, it may not be easy to develop PS5 specific development from day one. For the time being, development for PS4 is also necessary. It's not a PlayStation unless you prepare a system for developers can use up over several years. So I think there is a great potential in the future. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan told GameIndustry.biz last year that the platform holder's ambition is to transition players from PS4 to PS5 at a scale and pace that we've never delivered on before. Soapy, the thing I wanted to ask with this is, when we go into a new gen, it's always interesting because it's always how many people move over right away, how many people move over in the first 6 months, maybe even first 3 months, how many move over in the first year, and eventually how many, like, oh, you see PS4 games still, and then it trickles out to where it's just PS5 games. Same thing on Xbox. Oh, we're trickling over. For this next gen, we can even bring Xbox into this too. Do you think that because the thing I think of is because of the technological leap that we are making in this gen, do you think that's the main reason why it may be that mixed with we have a pandemic right now, which many people are strapped for cash and might be like, fuck, I'm going to wait a year before I get this. Do you think technological leap mixed with pandemic, we might see a longer time until the PS4 and the Xbox One are completely gone away with? Or will this be like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's like instead of the 3 years that the head of platform planning said, maybe it'll be under that, but the 3 years is just, it may take that long.
I think it's more or less the pandemic.
Okay.
Because it's one of those things that we were probably having the same type of conversation whenever the PS4 and Xbox One X or the Xbox One were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we probably were having the same conversation of like, oh, how long is the PS3 and Xbox 360 going to last around?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, fuck, there are people who still play the 360.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, at some point, those servers are going to get shut down. I can't wait to basically shed a tear and have to pour one out for the homies.
They haven't been shut down yet?
Nope, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the PS3 servers are up. I don't even know anyone that is still playing a PS3. But, like, for me, this is the pandemic. Like, we brought it up numerous times. It's an interesting animal. It's a different beast that we've never had to deal with before. And like I mentioned, that might play into it. But, like, for me, I look at this and I go, how do you then, with the pandemic, with the technological upgrade, how do you move people over then? Like, for me, it's just one of those things where unless you're going to say, hey, we're not going to make PS4 games anymore, or, hey, we're going to cycle down on them, won't that just be like catering to that, to the, like what the word from the article is? Isn't that just catering to it and you're basically not moving those people over? Or is it just truly, we're going to wait until everyone can?
I think it's more or less of kind of just biding your time.
Okay.
Obviously, it's one of those things. There will be the people who don't move on.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for those people, a lot of times, like, if it's such, like, a small, minute amount of people,
mm-hmm.
and obviously, you know, some people may view me as an asshole for saying it, I just basically say, fuck them.
Yeah.
Who cares? They don't move on. Boo-hoo, get over it.
And, like,
it's one of those things that I always have hated, and I don't mean to
go
speak
ahead.
over you.
No, go ahead.
It's the fact that there are times where, and sorry if you hear my family, I can turn it off if it gets picked up.
You're good.
There are times of where it's like when people think back to last gen, I always think, no, new games should not come out on both.
Mm-hmm.
If a new gen is coming out, that's basically where you tell last gen players, nah, fuck you, get the next gen. Otherwise, get over and stop being a big baby. Because it's one of those things, you're holding back the next gen game. Because then now, they have to sit here and compromise for like, oh, this is what we would have done in next gen, but we had to downgrade it a little bit so it could run on the last gen.
And that,
like, I think stuff like that is stupid. I think it should be for instance, I don't think at this point, if I was Xbox and PlayStation, I would tell people, listen, here's your refund for Cyberpunk 2077. Get it on next gen console, you big fucking baby.
Or basically just Sony saying, hey, we're going to give you a free upgrade to it. We're going to give you the free upgrade to Cyberpunk. But like, it is interesting what you say there, because it almost begs the question of, should you wait? Ricky, should you not be a big dum-dum and get your PlayStation or try to get it on Thursday? Should you wait that first year because, there's not going to be that, yes, the games are going to look better and they're going to perform better, but the games themselves, like, and this happens with next gens, where it's like the ones later in the generation are always looked at more fondly than the first ones, because as the generation gets cooking, people get their hands on the software a little bit more. They kind of like, it comes to a point where developers, like, the first phase is getting comfortable with the very first phase is your launch phase. So it's basically, oh my God, we're using a new toy. That's phase one. Then phase two comes in to where you're looking at it and you're like, okay, we're getting more familiar with this kit, what the tools that we can use in this next gen. We're really going to lock those down. Then after that, then you can enter a third phase as a dev where you go, you know what? Let's test these boundaries a little bit. We've been kind of playing it safe with some games here or there, kind of peeking out with like, ooh, we're going to test the boundary here. But like, it's really in that third phase where most devs can then go, hey, we understand this. We have been working with this technology for so long now in this generation. Now let's test the boundaries. Let's do things that are unimaginable on this generation. Like, you get that with any generation, you get that with any new console, but like for this one, I'll ask you, like, because of that with this one and the pandemic and I said numerous times already, the technological leap that's in this one that seems to be greater from this gen to last gen from any of the generations that we've had in between. Do you think it would be smart for someone to pull the U route, Soapy, of basically I'm not going to get it launch day, I'm going to fucking just wait on it and get my next gen console later?
The reason I'm doing that is so that, one, I don't have to go through the rough early part of the console.
Yeah. Makes
Two,
sense.
I'm doing it because mostly then by that point, by the time I get the console, all the games I'm going to be waiting for are probably already out.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
And three, it's one of those things that I mostly do it because for launch titles, I always do this because I was burned with Rise Son of Rome. I bought a fucking Xbox One day goddamn one. Played Rise Son of Rome, hated it.
I'm trying to think of my first experiences with consoles.
And the reason why, and this is why I will always wait for next gen, I am not being burned by launch titles. It is one of those things. I do it to where it's like obviously, it's one of those things like, yes, there are backwards compatible games. If I want to play those fucking games, I'll just play them on my Xbox. I don't have to spend $500 to play a game I already own.
Let's see. The PS4 launch titles were... Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what was the first game I played on my PlayStation.
Oh, so all that matters is that Sunset Overdrive is still a great game. And I'm upset that everyone hated it. And by everyone hated it, I mean most people just didn't care for it.
So, I want to say the first game I played on my PS4 was Call of Duty Ghosts.
Oof, what a rough way to start it off.
I think that's it. Well, this was when Ghosts was still early, so like, Yeah, I think Call of Duty I think it was Call of Duty Ghost because JD, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. I wanna say Ghost was one where just like this time with the COD for Black Ops Cold War, it came out before the PlayStation 4 came out, and when I bought Ghost, I had bought the free upgraded version where I bought it for PS3, played it on PS3 for a little bit, and then upgraded it to PS4. At that time, since I was doing physicals, they just had a barcode that you put into the game, and you're like, boom, there you go. You've got it on your PS4. Because, like, I remember playing Ghosts and being like, wow, this looks a lot better than it did on the PS3. And I'm trying to think, PS3 launch titles. I know when I got my PS3, I didn't play it right away because, and this is going to sound very stupid because of the game. I was actually playing Resident Evil, what was it, 4, 3, 2? One of the Resident Evil games that was on the Wii. I was like, I got to finish this before I go ahead and pick up my PlayStation 3 and play it, as it was just sitting there next to me. No, not Call of Duty 3. No. Actually, I think it was Madden 07 was my PS3, my first PS3 game. Yeah, because I'm looking through these other launch titles. Yeah, I think it was Madden was the first game that I played on the PS3 after I beat Resident Evil. But yeah, it's going to be interesting as next gen starts today. Has officially come out for Xbox. Thursday will be when it comes to the PlayStation. It's interesting to have this conversation of what's it going to be like with the next gen. JD, you saying Ghosts hurt your eyes on the previous gen on the 3G or on the PlayStation 3?
Facts, dude.
Did it?
Even on Xbox, dude, that game looked like garbage.
Even on the upgraded gen or just on the Xbox 360?
Just on the 360.
Okay. So we're thinking it was at the time one of those where it's like they made this for the next gen, but we're like, hey, we're going to try to grab some money.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So Soapy, the next topic we got here, I've got some interesting news for you. And if this is true, it's a big oof by AEW, but we're talking AEW. And I had hoped by this point, Soapy, because we are 18 minutes after they had announced that they were going to go live with a special event. I have their YouTube open, and I also have their Twitter open, Soapy. And here's what I've got. You ready for this? I keep refreshing the YouTube page. Nothing has not gone live. And I keep refreshing the Twitter because as of 19 minutes ago, they put out a tweet that said the final tweaks are being made, and the at AEW Games 1.0 special event will begin shortly. And the fucking replies are just people clowning on AEW now. There's one where it's this one guy with the video, like refreshing the page nonstop on his phone. Someone posted, this isn't the airport. No need to announce your departure. So we don't know what's the announcement from AEW Games. However, Soapy, what we do know, and this is from a IGN article posted today, fans of All Elite Wrestling, AEW, have reason to celebrate as there are multiple AEW games in development. As reported by Heel by Nature, AEW's Tony Khan confirmed that an AEW console game is in the works alongside another that will let players take the role of a general manager. Here's the exact quote from Tony. We're making multiple games. We're working on more than one game. We're going to cater to different platforms. We're going to cater to different kinds of games and different interests. We'll put a title out on a console game that is best in class. We're really excited about that. There's some big surprises to come in 2020. I just can't say that enough. There's still time in 2020. In August 2020, AEW quietly launched a Facebook page named All Elite GM that was quickly changed to AEW Games. The following month, AEW filed the trademarks for both All Elite Wrestling General Manager and Elite GM. These were filed for use in-game software, including mobile phones, handheld computers, and mobile gaming devices. We're going to put something out that's for those people like myself who love putting wrestling cards together, Khan said of the GM game. It will allow somebody to do the job I do, the general manager of AEW, handbook cards. Soapy, what are your thoughts on this alone? Not just that we could be getting an AEW game announced sometime tonight, but also AEW might be going in kind of a different direction of having a general manager game where you're the general manager of AEW.
I can finally book the women's division properly. That's cool.
Is that what you needed, Soapy? Little bit of a rib shot there. Here's my concern with the GM game, okay? How is it not just head coach for Madden? Because I don't know if you remember that game, Soapy, but EA a while ago, fucking what year was that? Bringing up old sports games from Ricky's, let's see, head coach game. It had Dungy on the, was it Dungy or Tomlin on the cover? Oh, it was Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher was on the first one. Steeler coach. That's what I thought, Tomlin. And then Dungy was on the 09 version. I remember playing that game and thinking, man, this is going to be exactly what I like to do. It's going to be the franchise mode that I've got. It's going to be working with the team, putting it together, everything that I want. And then Soapy, when you played the actual games, because I don't know, have you ever played NFL head coach?
No.
Okay.
Tisby before my time.
When you play an actual game, actually it came out when you were like 6. When you play an
once again, before I've actually even literally cared about football.
So
even slightly so.
So if you go to play a game in that, because it is like a franchise mode, you get to do everything. Sign the players, draft the players, blah, blah, blah. But when you go to play a game, you know what you get to do? The only thing you get to do, Soapy? Call substitutions, challenge the play, call timeout, and call the plays. That's
This is the most fun part of the game.
I fucking hated it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I was like, wait, you're telling me I get to call play and then I basically just watch the game? I can watch football whenever I want. Like, I play Madden to play Madden. So, like, for me, it was a very disconnect. Like, I have that worry with GM, Elite GM. Like, if you were making that game, Soapy, do you think AEW is going to fall into that same pitfall? It's like, oh, but you made the card. It's like, yeah, but I actually want to play the card that I made.
I mean, for me personally, I hope it's like the GM mode in the older like SmackDown versus Raw games.
Explain it.
Mostly just
for someone like me who didn't play it.
All right, so basically, it's what they would do for SmackDown versus Raw is basically they were like, oh, you take the reins of SmackDown or Raw, and you fantasy draft. You basically draft people from the whole pool, and you try to see which, basically, can you lead your brand to being the number one brand?
Okay.
Like typically, for instance, and I can give an example if you want to check out what GM mode actually looks like. Xavier Woods' YouTube channel, Up Up Down Down, he has a series that he does with Tyler Breeze called Battle of the Brands, and it's been playing GM mode.
Okay.
Where it's also in the first part. Tyler Breeze is a little bit of a big fat cheater in the first part, but that's beef for a different day.
Ooh. I don't mean to interrupt you, Soapy, but you want me to read one of the comments on AEW's Facebook page? Also, if you guys hear the sirens, those are on my end, not yours. This is a great comment because, like I said, AEW is just getting clowned on right now. That it is now 25 minutes since they were supposed to go live, and it says This game, incredibly lifelike. I feel like I'm continuously waiting for something that either won't show up or will inevitably disappoint. Realism, check.
I mean, hey man, dude, some people have said that about, the women's division. So at least they're delivering. Gotta have some consistency.
Yeah, I was hoping at this point in the show, Soapy, that we were talking about something that was exciting. But yeah, AEW. This is a faux pas on AEW. 25 minutes after you were expected to go live, you put out a tweet that said, "Oh, we're can I ask that too? Like, enough about the game for a second. Can I just rant about that for a second because we're in the moment doing this? How bad does it look? Does it look bad if you put up a tweet like 2 minutes after you're supposed to go live saying, "Oh, guys, we're putting the final tweaks on our presentation"? Like, is it that looks bad, or is it the fact that you put up that tweet 20 minutes ago and you're still not doing it?
I mean, I don't think it looks bad.
Okay.
Now, granted, obviously, this is coming from a person that has never been in a situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I view it as like maybe that last minute changed a lot more than they thought it would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, maybe that's why it's taken so long. For video games, I take the optimistic approach of just don't caring. I'm just not caring about anything, and apparently I also take that with AEW. So who knows?
I'll be honest.
Maybe I am just an AEW fanboy. Who knows?
I was excited to be able to talk about an AEW game, but it looks like we might have to mention that in passing tomorrow because we ain't going to see that tonight. Soapy, one of the last two things that we are talking about. One, the last one we talked about before the show about D&D. I'm going to let you take the lead on that one to end everything. But the first one, shorty but a goodie, that we're talking about is that a show that you got me into, we're both into, and I thank you for getting me into it. I'm currently still watching and listening to their second campaign, Season 2. Critical Role's Mighty Nine is getting a Dark Horse comic series. This is the info from Polygon.com. It says Critical Role's Mighty Nine is getting another series for Dark Horse Comics. Critical Role The Mighty Nine Origins will explore the backstory of each of the group's 8 main characters. The first issue will be written by Sam Maggs, with line art by Hunter Servine Boyan and color by Kathy Lee. Fans should expect it on June 16th, 2021. Dark Horse announced on Tuesday. Perhaps the single most popular actual play role-playing series, Critical Role is the brainchild of Matthew Mercer and dedicated group of talented voice actors. Blah, blah, blah. You guys probably know what Critical Role is. If you don't, check them out. They're great. Here's the quote. Jester Lavore had a conventional upbringing, Dark Horse said in a news release. Even for one born in cosmopolitan Nicorodanas, daughter of the famed Ruby of the Sea, she had many opportunities for mischief as a small child, of which she took full advantage. Dive into the mystery of Jester's early years, her first meeting with the Traveler, and the fateful events that set her on a path to eventually join the Mighty Nine. Soapy, what are your thoughts on this? How excited are you for this?
I'm fucking pumped, and the reason why is because I don't know if it's said in the article anywhere. Mm-hmm. They're actually working with Matt Mercer and the people who made the backstories.
I love it.
So, for instance, for Jester, they're working with
Laura Bailey.
They're actually working with Laura to get like the full details of it. Like, this isn't going to be like, oh, they just make shit up as they go.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped. I know that I think it's not so much Dark Horse is doing it, but I know someone's making a D&D one-shot that's based around Caleb's backstory.
Okay.
They're working directly with Liam.
Okay. Because you mentioned Liam, and I was like, oh, in the article, is that what I'm looking at? Because in the article, they have 2 covers, and one of them's the Mighty Nine. It has Jester on it. And then the other one is the Mighty Nine, and it has Caleb. So I at first thought, oh, that's just 2 issues of these comics. But then I'm like, is that Caleb one the one you were talking about?
I think they're making one for both.
Okay. Yeah, and Sam Maggs, who I said is writing it, is a comic veteran with experience working on IEW's all ages Captain Marvel comic and prosed novel The Unstoppable Wasp. According to her website, she's also engaged with Wizards of the Coast on an upcoming reboot of Dark Alliance, the Dungeons of Dragons first-person action role-playing video game based on the works of R.A. Salvatore. So yeah, I'm fucking pumped for this, Soapy. I know for you had been longer into this than I, because not only did you get me into D&D officially, you got me also into this series. I believe it was you and Dave. Like, Dave always told me, and Dave is gonna, if he's listening, gonna say something about it, because it usually happens this way, is Dave tells me to listen to something, I then don't. And then someone else tells me to listen to it, and then I go ahead and listen to it. And I believe this was the same situation. Dave mentioned I should watch Critical Role. I was like, okay, I'll get to it when I have time. Then you told me to do it, and I did it. And yet again, another thing that Dave told me to watch or listen to. And I had to wait until someone else told me before I did it. But Soapy, the last thing, don't have a card for it because it was brought up right before we were going live. There's another D&D news. I'm going to let you take this one away.
All right, so the new D&D source book that's coming out relatively soon. I think it's coming out sometime next month.
Mm-hmm.
Named Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Part of the table of contents was leaked, and it's basically all of these subclasses that are being added.
Okay.
Probably should have the article open because I didn't know if we were going to talk about this, so I probably should open that.
I mean, yet again, I should probably prepare my co-host, right?
Yeah, maybe.
That'd probably be a good thing.
Yeah. Now I also got to scroll up on this thing too because I put in a D&D Discord. So.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. We can wait for. Hey, while we're waiting, I could refresh the AEW page to see if they've actually done something.
Absolutely not.
And they haven't.
What a shocker. All right, let me scroll down and find. All right, so do you want me to just go through and list all of the subclasses? Yeah, that's all they basically are.
Before you do start, we do have an update. They have pushed the event back to the 45th minute of the hour. So at least they got an update. So go ahead.
All right. So the Artificer class, which is one of the classes you have to pay money for, it got its armor class. Basically, you get to be fucking Iron Man. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Barbarian got Path of the Beast, which is pretty fucking cool. Path of Wild Magic is it's wild magic, so have fun killing your own party. Bard, College of Creation. I think that kind of makes them like Artificer, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Cleric got the Peace Domain,
okay.
Which it's got its name changed because before it was the Unity Domain.
Okay.
And even before Unity Domain, Love Domain. And then Twilight Domain, which basically is they're just like, hey man, stars are pretty cool.
Stars are pretty cool, man. I like stars.
So Druids got their Circle of Stars
mm-hmm.
and Circle of Wildfire. Basically, all Druid subclasses suck, so it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just what I'm going with. The Fighter got Psi Warrior, which is basically use psionics, but psionics suck in D&D, so have fun.
Why do psionics suck? For a noob like myself, Soapy.
Because they're only really good against enemies with low intelligence, and most enemies have like medium intelligence.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, that would make Rune sense. Knight. Yeah, Rune Knight. I don't exactly know what that one does.
Mm-hmm.
Monk. There's Way of Mercy. I think that one's more or less kind of worrying about knocking people out.
Okay.
I think. And then Way of Astral Self. Probably some stupid astral projection shit to make the monk even more OP than they already are.
So this
my dumbass scrolled up.
So this is like the next edition, right? For D&D?
No.
Okay.
This is just a source book.
Okay.
Next edition isn't coming out because we don't know when it's coming out.
Okay. Yeah, I just, as the D&D user, I didn't know if this was like or like I said, D&D noob. I didn't know if this was like a new edition or if this was just no. This is the next updates to the D&D world.
Oh yeah, no. If it was moving into 6th edition, this would literally just be called like the 6th edition player's handbook.
Oh, okay.
It would not be the Tasha's Cauldron of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the subclasses. Paladin has Oath of the Watchers,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's probably just something with like percent. It's the Watchers are basically one of the forms of deities in D&D.
Yeah.
Ranger, Fey Wanderer, you're doing shit with Fey, so you're gonna be an asshole to everybody. Because fuck Fey, I hate them. Swarm Keeper is actually a really cool thing for the Ranger.
Yeah.
Basically, they could do, or at least one of the things they can do is they can make their arrows do extra damage because they basically have like insects swarm around the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna fucking touch Rogue because Rogue's OP and they don't deserve anything else.
They usually are, right?
Well, I mean, considering Rogues can do fucking 200 damage in a single turn, it's a little bullshit, and that's without like fucking min-maxing your character.
Soapy's like, let me rant for a little bit, bro.
No, because I can, relating it back to Critical Role, Liam at level 8 did 68 fucking damage in one attack. At level 8, mind you. Yeah. They ended at like level 20. 68 fucking damage with a dagger. Daggers do 1d4 damage, mind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bullshit. Rogue doesn't deserve anything. Fuck Rogue, I hate him.
Maybe instead of playing a Paladin, I should play a Rogue next time? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, depends. If I'm going to have every fucking enemy not be able to be stealth attacks, so have fun with that. Sorcerer, Aberrant Mind, I think that's mostly just working once again more with psionic stuff.
Okay.
Or I may, like, obviously, I'm just kind of giving a guess by the name. Yeah. A lot of these I haven't played before. It may make you kind of like a Mind Flayer. Which Mind Flayers are one of the enemies that they can brainwash people. Yeah. So that's a thing. Clockwork Soul. That one's fucking weird. I don't even know how to... Like, I've played it before, and I still don't know how to fucking explain it. It's basically just, you just get to be weird. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you. I was looking something up. Sorry.
Had to make sure.
Yeah, I can still hear you. You're still here.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta reopen the article since it only opens it up in my Discord.
Yeah, I was looking something up because I also forgot today was Happy Scourge Invasion Day. The Shadowlands Scourge Invasion event starts today.
Oh man, Warlock just got new people it can worship. There's the Fathomless and the Genie. Okay. And Wizard totally doesn't have 5 million different fucking subclasses already. That they don't need more.
Does it?
Yes, they have the most subclasses in the game, like by far. There was one source book I think that gave them 6 different fucking subclasses.
Yeah. Is that why wasn't Dave a wizard in our D&D campaign?
He was a sorcerer.
A sorcerer, okay.
And the wizard's one is Way of the Scribe. So basically, wizards are gonna basically just be fucking bards. So we may as well just get rid of the bard as a class.
Oh, but I like bards.
I mean, bards are cool and all until you realize that literally every class can play a bard better than a bard can.
Really?
Yeah, because basically every class has a thing that lets them use charisma for something, which was something that made the fucking bard good. Yeah. But now,
because he has high charisma, because he's got to talk people into shit and convince you, like persuade you to do what he wants.
Yep, because paladins have it, clerics have it,
he has to
warlocks have it for some reason.
He or she's got to seduce you.
That's the horny bard. Not everyone's a horny bard. And yeah, it's basically all of the subclasses. People have speculated this is where they're going to make the D&D wheelchair official. Who knows?
I know you mentioned that to me beforehand. Which is great inclusion in gaming. Yeah. And yeah, that's basically all of the stuff that got leaked from it. Obviously, more stuff has probably been leaked. This was leaked like a while ago. Yeah, but that's going to do it then. That'll do it then for MVP Games Live. Thank you guys for everything you do. Watching, listening, commenting, talking to us in Twitch. Remember, if you haven't already, join the best community in the internet or on the internet. Discord, link down below in the description. If you're on YouTube, !Discord into Twitch chat gets you the free link into that community so you can join it and be an MVP today or a real MVP. You're already a real MVP because you're watching the show. If you want to support us, check out patreon.com/MVP vids. Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. If you also want to support us, you can throw us a sub on Twitch, where we are live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids. And we're also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment, as I have a little frog in my throat there. That's going to do it for Soapy and I. We will be back tomorrow, maybe talking about a new AEW game, giving the updates about that early in the show, because apparently it starts in 4 minutes. We'll actually see if that happens, Soaps. But that's going to do it for us. For you on Twitch, MVP Sports Live will come up next with Dave and myself. Thank you guys for everything you do, watching, listening, and as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye!